From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman, but with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Mike Kruger, and this is your evening update. Now, of course, as you know, I tend to go into a lot of detail in my forecast. So for those of you that are in a bit of a hurry and just want to know what to expect as we go into tonight and through today tomorrow, well, let's start off with Kruger's Quickcast. So we're going to start off by taking a look at our lows here as we take you into the overnight hours tonight. And, you know, not that bad. Temperatures much cooler than we've seen since last week, mainly in the low 60s for the valley. We're talking 40s in the mountains, and how about those low 50s out along the coast? As we take you out the door tomorrow morning, looks like we are going to, that's not the current temperature, that's not the date, by the way, but just to kind of give you an idea, it's not August 6th, but it is going to be August 13th tomorrow. But that all being said, still a bit hazy for Trinity County, Siskiyou County, and of course for the North Coast, you've got the mostly cloudy skies. By 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, probably somewhere in the upper 60s for the valley, mid to upper 50s for many of the higher elevations. Let's take a look at futurecast, and you know, chances for thunderstorms are going to be much slimmer here for tomorrow. I do anticipate to see mainly just in the form of a few clouds coming in from the north, working their way into maybe north ends of the valley, but most of the cloud cover tomorrow will be to the north of the valley, not to mention a lot of that fog out along the coast. And how about that smoke here for tomorrow? Well, it looks like we are going to see more smoke coming in from the Boise fire, and not to mention the Park fire, but not nearly as much smoke as we've seen, kind of widespread that is, across the region. Temperatures, again, pretty much in the upper 80s to low 90s in the valley, 70s and 80s for the higher elevations, and I do expect temperatures in the low to mid 60s here for tomorrow along the coast. Let's take a look at your 7-day outlook, and taking a look at the valley, yeah, temperatures are increasing a little bit. We're talking low to mid 90s for Wednesday, but they drop back down again, and in the weekend, upper 80s to around 90 before we see another slight increase here for early next week. Taking a look at the coast, temperatures in the low to mid 60s for the next 7 days. Inland, low to mid 80s for those daytime highs, and about upper 80s to low 90s for Weaverville and really most of Trinity County. And for Mount Shasta, here's the thing, and not to mention Alturas and maybe even Susanville, there is going to be a slight chance that by around Wednesday or Thursday we could be introducing a chance for showers and thunderstorms. But at this point, I'm going to keep it out of the forecast and wait for a little bit more consistency in the long-range forecast models. But until then, look at that, cooler over the weekend. 70s for Mount Shasta by the time we get into Saturday, Sunday, and around 80 by next Monday. All right, by the way, I do want to remind you that if you want to get the most comprehensive fire coverage, the best time to do that is to either watch the morning update at 6 a.m. and even better yet, to watch Coffee with Kruger weekday mornings at 7 a.m. I go into great detail, distances from fire perimeters, the works, especially when there's a lot of activity. When things quiet down, we don't go as quite as comprehensive, but still a deep look at a lot of those fire perimeters and the works. So if you don't get a chance to watch it in the morning, you can still click on the banner there at weathernorcal.com, click on the Coffee with Kruger banner that you see right there, and you'll be able to watch the pre-recorded version of Coffee with Kruger. And if you don't want to watch the pre-recorded version, you can also just get the latest fire information from the weathernorcal.com website and click on the fire danger section. All right, let's take a look at our weather headlines. The cooler weather has arrived. A chance for isolated showers, thunderstorms, maybe as we go into the evening hours, but otherwise there's just not a lot of moisture to work with. And we're going to be keeping highs below normal into the weekend. And by the end of the week in particular, and going into the weekend, we're looking at the possibility of some stronger winds. We're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail on what that means. But taking a look at the winds here for tomorrow afternoon, that is, you can see they're not going to be quite as strong as we're seeing here for today, but still fairly strong, especially in the eastern mountains. By Wednesday, they may pick back up again, especially after the north and western portion of the valley getting into the foothills. But overall, nothing too terribly alarming at this point. Now, the humidity levels, not bad. Now, it'd be nice to see them a little bit higher, but at least we're not in the single digits anymore. We do have higher humidity because of the cooler temperatures. But as the temperatures increase a little bit for parts of the valley, that's when we see those humidity levels also drop a little bit as well. But the overall fire weather risk here going into your Tuesday really looks like it's going to be in that moderate range and maybe even below that for many of us in the valley. So looking at Futurecast, there you can see some of the clouds coming in tomorrow afternoon, but I don't anticipate any showers or thunderstorms. Now Wednesday, take a look at the afternoon. We're starting to see more of those afternoon cumulus clouds develop. Could we see a stray shower or thunderstorm? It's not out of the question. By the way, we still have a lot of the low clouds and fog here for the coast. But as of right now, I don't have any thunderstorms in the forecast for the rest of this week and through the weekend. But again, stay tuned because that may change, especially as we get towards the middle and latter part of this week. Meanwhile, we take a look at those temperatures and see the cooler air, that area of low pressure right there below the banner into Canada. That is going to be migrating southward by the middle and latter part of this week. A couple of things it will do. Number one, cooler temperatures will be in the forecast. But number two, with the squeeze play between that area of low pressure and high, that could give us some stronger winds. Now, one of the things here is even though the winds are coming in from the southwest, which is better than a north wind, but a southwest wind gives us slightly higher humidity. But number two, it's just strong winds. We don't want that because no matter which direction they're coming from, especially when we have fires burning at the current time, that can create problems. So we'll see what happens with that as we get to the end of the week and early part of the weekend. And then by early next week, we start to see that area of low pressure kind of shift a little bit more to the north. Winds should subside. Temperatures may increase a little bit as a result as well, but the long range keeps us in the cooler than normal category. But looking at that long range here, you see how temperatures kind of go up and down a little bit here, but over the weekend, the coolest, upper 80s, low 90s in Redding. But then as I was mentioning, that low pressure shifts a little bit more to the north, and that's going to mean, looks like it's slightly warmer temperatures as we do go into the middle and latter part of next week. Take a look at your wave heights for your Tuesday. Not going to see much change there. And as we take you into your Wednesday, pretty much the same story, keeping those wave heights fairly low. The main concern for the coast is just going to be, of course, that fog. All right, so here's a look at your forecast for tonight. As mentioned earlier, temperatures low 60s in the valley, 40s for many of the higher elevations. It is going to be a lot more pleasant out there, folks. So you can open up the windows, let some of that cooler air in. Now, when we look at our Trinity County neighborhood forecast, temperatures are going to basically be in the upper 80s for Weaverville through Friday, but down to the mid 80s over the weekend. All right, we take you off towards the coast. Yeah, of course, much cooler for the coast. Low 60s, low to mid 60s really for the next 7 days. It's going to be hard for that fog to burn off throughout the afternoon, so mainly cloudy skies. Take you up to the north, inland, low to mid 80s here pretty much on average here for the next 7 days. So it looks like it's going to be much more pleasant there as well. Taking a look at your 7-day outlook for Mount Shasta, look at that in the upper 70s by the weekend, but we will see those temperatures increase slightly for early next week. And for Modoc County, temperatures in the 70s and 80s for those daytime highs. Taking you to the eastern mountains, Fall River Mills about 79. Looks like Bernie, you'll see a high of about 81 degrees, and out towards Janesville about 83. And your valley neighborhood forecast, temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. So again, that delta breeze having a bit of an influence, less of an influence of that delta breeze to the north, hence the low 90s. 92 degrees for Redding, 91 degrees in Red Bluff. And we take a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures, as I mentioned, kind of going up a little bit going into the middle of the week, back down, upper 80s, low 90s for the weekend. And by the time we do get into Monday, you're talking about those temperatures just slightly warmer in the low 90s. That is your evening forecast. I will be back in my studio in Redding by tomorrow morning. So, of course, be sure to look out for your forecast tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And, of course, Coffee with Kruger tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Until then, have yourselves a great evening and great night.
We're the locals down the street. The neighbor you come to for advice. A nest egg for the golden years. A loan or a new account for that growing business. What started in Chico 50 years ago has taken us all around California, providing big bank lending power and high-tech service while keeping our relationships personal. We're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street might be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.